Hi, good afternoon. Um, so, this is going to be a personal journal entry. Um, and I'm doing this exercise for a journaling entry for school. And it's written, but I thought, why not make a video? And we're talking about something really interesting, which is religious symbols in our personal lives and the meaning um, and how they come to have value. And so I wanted to share three from my life um, of religious symbols that um, have entered my life and some exited my life and what they mean to me. Um, so the first one I want to um, say that I come from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It is the oil capital of the world, which is famous for oil and oil money, Frank Floyd Wright, also Native American territory of the Cherokee Nation and other tribes. I am partially Native American. And so a little bit of interesting background. But one thing about Tulsa, Oklahoma, I wanted to add because as I was growing up, I was a part of secular culture. My parents were secular. My dad and my stepmother were not religious. My dad's a musician, my stepmother's a biker. They spent a lot of time doing a lot of civic stuff in the community that they knew about, and like charity work and fundraisers and organizing. Um, I went to bike rallies. I've been to bike bars where bikers are having fights that are drunk with their vests and all of that. So, um, as growing up in a secular life, in Tulsa, Oklahoma has an interesting place that I feel like represents secular uh, notions um, of life. So we have the center of the universe in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's near Greenwood, which is famous for the Greenwood race riots in the early 1920s on Archer and in Boston Street, downtown Tulsa. And the center of the universe, whenever I was a teenager, me and my friends, we would hang out, we would be having a good time, and we would go on walks and adventures inside of Tulsa. We had the all American, amazing teenage years before internet was a big thing, before Facebook, before cell phones were really big. We had pagers. So we used to go to the center of the universe for fun. And the center of the universe is this strange physical anomaly inside of Tulsa, and it's a circle. And if you stand in the circle, everything echoes really loudly outside, and there's really nothing for anything to echo off of. And then if you drop, that's if you drop something, or if you're inside the circle. If you're outside the circle, you don't hear the echoing. So it's very a strange location, but it's famous for being the center of the universe. And as a teenager growing up, I was like, how special is the center of the universe in my city, right? And so I felt like that was something symbolic in secular culture in my youth. And the center of the universe is a very central theme symbolically inside of religion. And in Native American culture, there's also near the center of the universe a totem, a cloud totem that was a piece of public art that was built by a modern artist, and it's a very modern totem. So it represents the symbolic totem symbolism of culture in that way, the way Durkheim would have envisioned it in Native American culture. So it's kind of interesting that there's a totem at the center of the universe, and it's a modern anomaly. um, based in secularism. Secondly, another symbol from my childhood that has impacted my life is the Buddha. Buddha actually was a part of my childhood, was a religious symbol that my grandmother kept in the house. And my grandmother lived in Japan and she lived in China. My dad was born in Japan. I have my aunt was born in China. My grandmother lived there in Asia with my grandfather, and she was an English teacher in Japan and China. And so my grandmother's house is fabulously decorated, like a Japanese home or a Chinese home. And part of that, we have these giant Buddhas all over my grandmother's house. And I never knew who Buddha was, except for he was from China and from Japan. But symbolically, what that represented in my life was this international respect of other religions and of other cultures. Mainly other cultures, not so much other religions, because my family never went into detail about the Buddhist religion. Just, it was a knick-knack, one of those special items that you collect whenever you're a tourist. And symbolically, that's what it meant more, as a respect for other cultures, that we are an international family, secularly. And then lastly, I wanted to share the Quran as being the third one. In my early 20s, I became interested in religion after 9/11 and conflict in the Middle East. And I actually never seen the Quran before, but I went to a restaurant one day and they had some picture on the wall, and I love art. And this picture was in the back of the restaurant. And I asked the owners what was it, who was the artist, and they said that was the Quran. And I was like really fascinated. Of course, I was like, what does it say? And they told me to read the Quran and that it's only beautiful words. And so from that time I became very interested in reading the Quran, and it is a massive symbol in the Muslim world. And I do not have any Islamic art in my house, but I do have Quran in my house. And the Quran itself is a Islamic symbol, and the most respected symbol in the faith. And the very first word that is believed to be revealed whenever the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad was Iqra, and Iqra means to read. And so that is a very special symbol for the Muslims, or in the Islamic faith. Yeah, so those are the three symbols that I wanted to discuss, and their implications and value and what they mean. Have a nice day.